The White House revealing what is in its potential deal with Iran and saying it could be finalized within days.
It comes as top Iranian and Pakistani officials declare that a deal and peace, quote, have never been closer.
So let's bring in former CENTCOM deputy commander and a member of JINSA's Iran Policy Project, Vice Admiral Robert Harward. Vice Admiral, thank you so much for joining us. What is your level of confidence that this memorandum crosses the finish line?
Well, like anything else with the Iranians, you just never know. Yeah. But I will say this, they've been paying the price for the blockade and the economic strangulation they've been suffering from. And so I think that's what's driving them now more than ever. They need money. And while they don't care about their people, they could starve for all they care. And they've demonstrated that because they're willing to murder them all. They need money to pay their troops, pay their people. So this has been a big problem for that. And I think the strategy the president has adapted is very astute. Look, open up the straits immediately, get the world economy going. You're not getting any money or anything yet. Once that's proven, and then we can move into negotiations on the nuclear issues, then you'll be able to sell some of your oil, at least survive for the time being. But at the end of the day, this still continues to erode the trust and confidence, if there's any left, amongst the Iranian people and the regime. So again, I just don't know how this is going to play out, but I understand the strategy, and that's what's driving Iran to the table now. They need to survive.
Are they, Admiral, are they at the table in good faith? Because if we've learned anything, obviously we've heard there could be a deal, but it appeared that we didn't really know who was calling the shots within Iran. We know that the IRGC commander, Ahmad Vahidi, was a hardliner that was holding out, and IRGC kept launching strikes on Gulf states, while you had people like Arachi, who in that intro you saw said a deal could never be closer. Is it different now?
No, I think that's still playing out and will play out day by day. But the fact that they've got no money, that people can't get gas, families can't have energy during the day, those elements, that strategy forces Vahidi and everyone to the table. So again, we're still in that situation. Will they capitulate? Will Vahidi agree to this? And if we at least get the commerce flowing through the straits, it's progress. So again, we're going to have to watch, trust, and verify every step of the way, but at least there's movement. And if we can accomplish these objectives, the opening of the straits, the reduction of the nuclear capability by holding over the material, and then finally end funding of the surrogates, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis, you've met most of the objectives the president stated when we started this campaign. So it's really an absolutely unbelievable chain of events. Let's see if it's going to play out.
So as you point out, the regime does not care about its people, but it does care about funding its war effort. And, you know, that last one that you mentioned there, the idea of actually cutting off funding to Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, that would be a generational game changer for if that was actually something that they managed to agree to, but also that we successfully were able to enforce. How is something like that enforced?
That's the hard part. And everyone will be able to help. The government of Lebanon is going to be focused on that because of the issues they've had with Hezbollah. We have intelligence services. We have a lot of abilities to track and do that. And look at what Lebanon is today. Because of the Iranian support to Hezbollah, it's become a failed state. The same thing with Yemen and the Houthis. The same thing with Hamas. In Gaza, and you could say the same thing with Iraq because of the Shia influence. So all these nations, if they start funding it, stop funding, we're able to verify that that will collapse those entities. But again, that's going to take time, And we're going to have to watch carefully and be willing to go back to the table kinetically if any of those things do not come to fruition. So this is going to take time. But the first step, getting the world economy back on track.
Yeah, you can't just trust, you simply have to verify. Vice Admiral Robert Harward, we thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.